So, good afternoon. Welcome back to Having a Cup of Tea with George, episode 3. This is where I'm going to look at the structure, basically, of NotebookLM. So, as I said in the last two videos, there are a great many YouTubers that really understand how to bring everything together and make a really first class video on the features of different products. This is a little bit more lower key structure, and so I can talk to you about and get you to think about how you may use it. If you want to know how to use it in a faster way, then that's really good to watch, but features do change. So I was watching a NotebookLM video from about a year ago, and sadly it was a fantastic video, but it's gone outdated, and so somebody will have to make another video and another video. This should hold true for at least a year or two, with the addition of possibly one or two features. So what I've done this time, so I don't forget, um, I've got a little prompt sheet here. Um, this is not a paid video. I don't have sponsorship. I'm not anywhere near something called monetizing my website. I don't teach like this, with little post-it notes. But if I ever brought somebody up to the flip chart to write, a little trick in case you don't know, you could actually pencil in the wording. So some people feel like they don't want to join in, but all the answers will be on here for them. It makes it easier. But anyway, so we don't lose track, this is NotebookLM, and we're just going to have a talk. It's made by Google. You need a Google account basically to access all the features. So I'm going to split this up, and so I'm going to put sources, try and spell things correctly this time. I think it's more nerves, to be honest with you, because in the last video I misspelled Copilot, so I'm sorry about that. A chat area and something called Studio. Now, let's just give a brief on what this is. I always start, I open the notebook, create a new notebook. If you're not sure how to do that, watch one of the easier videos to get you started. And sometimes I'll ask it to go and research for me. And other times, like when I'm doing the Digital Adventures children's series, then I upload recommended safeguarding guides from UK government and child protection. So that, and I also use Bernardo's online risk register. So it's telling us professionals like myself, um, in child protection, what's happening in the world and how we can maybe communicate with young people to get them safer without preaching. So that's one way I use it. So let me jot these down, these sources for you. So it can search. You might have an idea and say, go and search for it, please. And it'll produce a list of sources. So it could be that you've got PDFs. Now, the PDFs might be from business, where it's minutes of meetings, reports, profit and loss accounts. If you're a high school student, it might be some of your work, some websites that the teacher might have asked you to, or other things is audio. So if you talk into your phone and record sound, you can upload that to this reliable source. And when I say reliable, it's because when it produces the output in studio, it's really reliable because you've given it its sources itself. So it's not making things up. You can obviously ask it to visit websites. So I might ask it to visit the Mental Health Foundation if I want to do a talk on anxiety or stress. So it's got reliable sources. I always acknowledge websites that I've used. Obviously, I can get the source of YouTube itself. And some of the sites I love to watch is Dr. John Campbell. He's absolutely excellent at explaining things. He's a real first-class educator. Sometimes I watch Ninja Nerds if I want to learn more about the medical side of things, because I work in schools. I train staff in first aid and first response, that type of stuff. So I really need to know my stuff when I'm teaching, because don't forget, I'm teaching teachers, and that can be quite a challenging in itself. It's always good when I actually don't teach teachers, and I actually worked with Key Stage 2 children in the UK. So that's 7-year-olds to 11-year-olds, and that was awesome because I had ideas of what I wanted to teach, but they changed it. And I was thinking on my feet. It was a splendid experience. I can recommend it. And also, you can use copied text. So, like if you've written stuff down, or there's letters, or an article in a newspaper that you want to photograph, that type of stuff, as long as you don't go mad and break copyright, you'd need to check things out. So if you're a young person in high school or college, maybe just check with your teachers first. For adults, I think you would be able to handle that situation yourselves. So the sources are quite substantial, and I tend to use all of them when I'm making videos. So chat is also quite interesting because on the chat, I ask questions. So what happens is when I've got some of these sources in the chat area, which is in the middle of your screen, it automatically comes up with a summary of what the sources are about. And then I think, am I ready to ask any questions yet? And I might jot some things down. Or I might ask it to explain something, which I do a lot of. It's called the Feynman technique. It's supposed to be where he was a scientist or an engineer in the 1950s, and he had the capacity to explain everything so simply as though the audience was a 10-year-old person. I'm not saying you're all 10-year-olds, but it was a great way. So I ask sometimes when I'm preparing stuff for my YouTube channel, for when I'm working with children or making a video for children, I will ask it to give me lesson plans and aim it for maybe 9-year-olds. So it uses the appropriate language for that age group in the United Kingdom, and it's absolutely fabulous. And then I can ask questions and say, what do you think? How should I deliver this particular part? Or how can I write an essay? Or how can I write a book report, which is in the studio in the output? So let's just finish this off. So I can ask questions. I can challenge in the chat area. So it's given me a summary and I can challenge it and say, come on, tell me more about what you've just said. Back it up with evidence. Well, the evidence actually is here. It's already prepared it. And it could turn round if it was really more human and say, George, you've given me the sources in the first place. So it could do that maybe one day. So I can ask it for summaries of all the data, all the information about the photographs, the articles in the newspaper, my coursework if I'm in school as a student. And it also, something that you might not realize yet, because I'm not showing you how to click a button. I'm showing you how to possibly think about how to use it. I'm not telling you how to use it because I've not got the entitlement to do that. But I'm suggesting how I use it, and it might give you help in the future. I also ask it to find connections. So we're working on the children's adventure series for the YouTube channel. And what I've been doing is I've been asking ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, and Claude to come up with ideas for videos. But I haven't just said, give me 50 ideas, give me 50 titles. I've asked it to explain why. So what I did last year as an example, in Copilot, I was going to do some blog posts from a website. I'd have to look at it and read it. I can't just churn it out because that could be called just slop, AI slop. We won't do that. But I said, give me 10 ideas on first aid that I could talk about in a blog. And it gave me 10 ideas. And I thought it was like asthma, anaphylaxis, CPR, how to deal with a bleed, that type of stuff. Now I know that because it's my bread and butter. But then I asked Copilot and said, right, tell me why you're giving me this information. Explain your reasoning. And so with NotebookLM, although it's going to produce stuff in this column, you can ask it to give reasoning, explain to me why you're doing it this way, how I can use it. So we've dealt with these two, and this last one is output or in the studio area of NotebookLM. So what we can do here is it can give audio files. So it's a review of all this material here and whatever we've asked here. It takes everything into consideration, and it'll produce an audio file. It also creates videos, and there's two types. Videos are explainer videos, which are shorter, or cinematic, where you might get like moving imitation people. I don't know what it's called, but they're really superb um, to watch. It might create a slide deck. Now, the slide deck is similar to PowerPoint or Keynote in Apple or Slides in Google. So it's really, really good. And you can use any of these or all of them to get the same information, but looking at it in a different way. It's really good if you think, I'd rather listen to a podcast and I'm going for a walk where I live, and I think I'll listen to it in my ear things on my, sorry, earpods. Sorry, I'm getting the wrong word in. My nephew and niece saw this, they murdered me. So anyway, the videos is something you can watch, but a slide deck is more static, and it can be quite interesting to see how it presents information. And it's the same information from all my sources and all my chats that I've had. And it's really useful to look at it. So I can get flashcards. And flashcards are like quizzes. One side it gives you a question, the other side it's an answer. And it can be used in revision. I was going to tell you about another website then, but I better not for now. You can ask to have quizzes created, infographics. and reports. So what I was doing was I was reading, there's a document in the United Kingdom called Keeping Children Safe in Education, and it's updated regularly. And so I gave the document from government in my sources. I talked about the document in my chat area and asked it to explain it to me and what's the differences between 2025 version and 2026 version. And then I asked it and said, well, give me an audio file and a video file, and I let it just produce it. And then I thought, well, if I want to advise schools, maybe I need a slide deck. So I'll get a slide deck. And it's funny because you're listening there, you're listening with audio, you're watching and listening with video, but the slide deck is interactive. It's giving you information, it's showing you in a different way. Again, with the flashcards, it could quiz me to make sure I know the document before I go and deliver it. I might be doing a presentation in school. I might be a high school student wanting to use this material. It's the same, or producing your homework or college work. You could even use it in business format. Submit all your information, discuss, challenge, ask for summaries, and then instead of a quiz, you could create infographics of the information. And importantly, I use this one, reports. I asked NotebookLM to write me a report as though I'm going to send it to a head teacher about the updates for Keeping Children Safe in Education 2026. So that's sort of like a summary of the structure of NotebookLM. I'm going to have another cup of tea now because I'm in the conservatory. It's in the afternoon in the UK on a Saturday and it's quite warm. And if I put the fan on, it'll start blowing all my hair. So anyway, it was lovely to meet you all. Stay safe, stay curious, and hopefully I'll meet you again sometime on the next video. Bye bye for now.